experience anything, or the fetus does not basically have any feelings, right? Or, of course, animals, we do know from science that they do have feelings and they do experience everything, right? So where does Indian philosophy stand on this question about horizontal life?
Good question indeed. Now, human being, Indian philosophical systems will point out that fetus is implicitly a human being. So they will introduce implicit and explicit, because Swami Vivekananda himself says that every human being is divine, but in what respect they vary? They vary in respect of actualization. So their hypothesis is to assign divinity to every human being. And not only so, in a yoga system, divinity has been interpreted in a mundane way. Divinity means you have effort for doing good things. Purushokaro, that itself is divine. Anybody who has got effort for good things at least once in life is exhibiting divinity. So divine does not mean God, mysterious things. It is just the effort for good things. And fetus is implicitly a human being. When it is born, then it is manifested as human being, and it can learn. It has the ability to learn. It has the ability to do good things. It has the ability to practice dharmic activities. Therefore, Purushokaro itself is a divinity in human being. So, if you kill a human being, of course, under some situation, this pregnancy can be terminated. That is also in our scripture, for the good of all, or for the good of mother or family, inbuilt systems are there. So one is what is good for me, another is good for the family, another is good for the society, another is good for human beings, another is good for sentient beings, another is good for the world. So within that system, when it is a hierarchical system, hierarchy which comes at the top of hierarchy, which supervenes all others. So there is a method for reconciling the conflict between what I ought to do and what I can do for the society. What I ought to do for myself, for my family, for the society, or for the world. So the highest one will supervene others. So with respect to your question, my answer is that they will consider fetus as a implicit, not explicit, but implicit, human being, and under some such situation, it can be terminated. So, termination is not ruled out under some situation for the higher good.
In fact, Garbhahatya is also considered as Brahmahatya in some of the cases. Brahmahatya. Garbhahatya is also considered as Brahmahatya in some of these circumstances.
Yes, that's right. That is the guiding principle.
Yeah, also people say.
Sure.
Thank you. And Professor Shah for your enlightening talk. But you tried to place East on one side and West on the other side. But if you study the scriptures say, मानस की जात सब है एक को पहचान. The entire humanity is one. Kabir ji says beautifully, अव्वल अल्लाह नूर पाया, कुदरत ते सब बंदे, एक नूर ते सब जब उपया, कौन पले को बंदे. No one is bad, no one is good. There is another saint says, हमको बैरी नहीं बिगाना, सगल संग हमको बनाए. Even our current leadership is using wish ek kutum, which in turn wish is kutum, means just one family. सबका साथ, सबका विकास.
सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास.
It doesn't apply only to
चार हो चुका है
India,
अभी.
but it applies to the entire universe, to the world. Another saint says, which brings out very clearly that needs to ponder upon. तू कट कट अंतर सब निरंतर और एको पुरख समाना. तू कट कट अंतर सब निरंतर और एको पुरख समाना. एक दाते एक पेखारी जी सब तेरे चोज बिराना. As you say, as you do, they all perform whatever is the. I give you an example, for instance. In East or West, when the children are born, all the parents, given their own resources, when the child is about to born, they prepare for their clothing, the pangura, all kinds of things they will collect, toys they will collect, waiting for their coming. When the children come, they are bright and they are just like in godly light. They exhibit that. And everybody is at their command. When the little cry, they bring milk or this and that or whatever treatment they want, we look after the children very well. And the children, when they start playing with their toys, they feel very happy and all that. Then a stage comes, the child holds the toy and does not let it go. It starts crying when another child comes and takes away the toy from the child's hand. The play is the Maya. Is the Maya which brings about all kinds of difference as we grow. We are all born in the image of God, Bhagwan, Vaheguru, Paramatma, but as we are engrossed in Maya, we start showing the difference. And in East and West, it's the difference of the Maya. We are less engrossed in Maya. Thank you very much.
Maya is the best. Most.
Can I ask you one question? I don't know whether it is an appropriate question, but because we are talking about nature of human being in East and West, we all know that ours is a great civilization, but it always comes to my mind why our civic sense is so bad in comparison to the Western people. So what happened to us? What your
Why we are still
philosophy says about it?
What happened to us? We will go back to Macaulay. Your backbone has been broken.
Yeah, they impose the culture.
Your backbone, he said, how to rule this country? Break their backbone. And what is our backbone?
Culture.
Sanskrit.
Our culture, our civilization, our language, our philosophy.
Our lifestyle.
our
values,
philosophy,
civilization,
But
virtues.
is there
He
a
has
need?
not seen single dishonest person. He says, I have traveled length and breadth of India, not a single dishonest person.
That is not true.
No.
No, he
But
said,
now,
he said,
that
he
time.
My
said-
college version.
Yes, his quotation, it
This is
is
my
his
comment.
view. That means he presented this view in the British Parliament in 1835. And I will give you the quotation also.
It means there were very few.
It may not be
He
true,
couldn't meet
but
one.
It may not be
Maybe they
true,
were inside
but
their home.
It is mostly he has not come across.
He's
Perhaps he
talking
has
about
not
present,
come
but
across.
he's
All
talking
the
about
way-
like
200
Yeah.
years back. That time there was no on this.
नहीं एटलीस्ट
वो थोड़ा तो होगा ही, लेकिन वो जनरल.
हाँ इतना नहीं था मतलब कि
Now,
बेसिकली पीपल वर ऑनेस्ट
Yeah,
बेसिकली
yeah, that time.
जैसे
But you
general-
can't connect now.
या कनेक्ट नाउ जैसे अभी की
Now
जनरल
तो पूरा
टेंडेंसी है
ही
कि
वो dishonest. जिसको पैसा दिख गया सब
हाँ।
भ्रष्ट हो गए.
अभी सिंगल पर्सन
The whole the business of the world business was governed by India, even the Indonesia, Java,
Oh, okay.
Sumatra, yeah.
My question
No,
is
no, no,
something else.
this is a good
What
question.
happened to our, civic sense?
The thing is that we have to revive, it is a slow process, we have to revive our culture. We have to revive what ought to be done. From the school, we have to teach what ought to be done. And we have to promote this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, means as Professor Singh said, it is present in all the gurus. Vasudhaiva, entire world is your relation. So we should be guided by that spirit. And even if we realize 1%, it is something great. So it is realizable in varying degrees.
Yeah, but that time, did we have the civic sense? Like 200 years back, did we have this civic sense?
That's right.
Yeah, did we have?
This one-
Is there anything
The people,
written in the
the
culture?
people were
I appreciate your
innocent
question.
and good,
I
but the
appreciate your
leaders.
question, and there is a way to revive our culture.
Yeah, once
There
upon
is a
time,
way.
India was a golden bird.
That way will be
that bird was killed
by
come
the
to know
British?
about our civilization,
By many
about our
invaders.
culture, and about our dharmic activities. But entire thing has been distorted. For example, dharma you translate as religion. That is totally wrong. It is not to be translated even as ethics. So all the basic terms are to be retained and to be explained from the very beginning of
Restored.
our study. In the primary school, secondary school, all sorts of courses are to be introduced, and obviously poverty is to be removed. There is no question, because it is said, poverty is the worst crime. And Manu, 3000 years ago, said that it is the duty of the ruler to have jobs for everybody. At the moment, 80% or 70%, I'm not sure, but some journalist told me from Calcutta that 80% people are unemployed.
Yep.
So 3000 years ago, Manu said that it is the duty of the ruler to
In the
have
world or-
everybody with,
In the world or in India? 80%.
in
In India.
I do not know.
Still we
In
have this
Calcutta.
GDP. What will happen?
In Calcutta might be. And GDP is also,
Highest GDP in the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Only
Highest GDP in the
20%
world.
people are
No, no, not just
contributing.
Debate on sometime, I
So,
know.
One thing,
Sir.
sir, one thing I just want to add to the answer, Manoj's question.
वो बाहर का कुछ-
बाहर निकल गए।
definitely,
actually,
you can ask all these questions, all these.
He wants
all
to
the
say
questions.
something.
Please say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
What would you like to say?
Yeah, that is, अभी जो civic sense की बात कर रहे
हाँ।
हैं, we have to learn from other also. Because वेद में ये लिखा है कि
वही
let
है
the
ना।
noble thoughts from
all is from
all come from all the
any direction.
मतलब वेदास में सिविक सेंस था हमारे अंदर।
अभी जो हम भूल गए तो we have to learn from others.
तो ब्रिटिशर्स ने हमारे ऊपर अगर इम्पोज किया तो उनमें तो सिविक सेंस ज्यादा था ना, हमारा गाइड के सब।
वो रूलर थे इसलिए हमें इम्पोज किया बस।
उनका civic sense
तो हमने उनसे अच्छा सीखा नहीं।
अच्छा सीखा नहीं।
हाँ वही मैं बोल रही हूँ ना, अच्छी चीजें सीखा नहीं।
Actually, we talk a lot about
अंग्रेजी सीखी।
अंग्रेजी सीखी है, गुलामी
Doesn't
सीखी।
require a mic because it's so small and there's only a few of us, but never mind. So what really it intrigues me, Dr. Shaw, why is it that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which is a concept of oneness, why does that not translate into our cultural makeup? So for example, we have race, we have caste, which is contrary to that whole concept of oneness.
That's right.
And where is that disconnect coming from?
Now, the thing is, Vasudeva Kutumbakam is coming from Vedic culture.
Yes.
And in Vedas, another pillar of civilization is Ekam Sat. Vivekananda used to quote in his innumerable lectures, Ekam Sat Vipra Baudhavali. That means truth is one, but sages call it by different names. As Professor Singh has quoted, we find similarity between or among the sages, emphasizing the aspect of reality. Now, the question is how to practice Vasudeva Kutumbakam. One question. And entire world is your relation, means mountain, trees, and there are propitiation, prashchitta, for cutting a tree with fruits and flowers. If you have done something wrong, Vivekananda used to say that whenever he ate meat, he said, I have done something wrong. Because animal eating, killing animal and killing and so on. But these are rules for minimizing violence. We have to eat something, but these are rules for minimizing violence. These are ideals. In my philosophy, they are ideals. Whether we are promoting that ideal or not. Even if you realize 1% of the ideal, it is something. Great. So Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is an ideal. The entire world is your relation. And you should move towards the realization of these ideals. And I'm glad that this became one of the themes of Indian culture and present culture and promotion of this idea is part of the High Commission. And I'm very grateful.
Dr. Shaw, that's an idealistic.
Ideal. It is an
That's
ideal.
right.
Even
You haven't
if
answered my question.
It's
you
a
realize
Question,
1%,
there is a disconnect.
It's the
between-
destination.
The question is, why is there a disconnect between that Vasudeva Kutumbakam concept, that ideal, and the practice in our culture, which is to do with the demarcations of all kinds, and one of which is caste, which is, caste should be, according to the Vedas, everybody's equal, everybody's doing something worthwhile, whether they, somebody that is doing slavery.
are you talking about the caste system?
caste system.
Yeah.
It's a disconnect.
Now, caste system
Discrimination,
is nothing
discrimination.
but, no, it has its origin.
No, I
Nothing.
understand, no, I understand.
One origin is like profession.
Yes,
As in
but
Western culture, you have profession. Similarly, you have, I talked to Panditji, Brahmin Sam does not mean Brahmin.
Dr. Shaw, I
And
get
not
that.
only so, Brahmin Sam does not mean Brahmin.
She has to say it further.
What I'm trying to say is that there's a disconnect
With the
in
idea.
India and all those that practice outside India of Indian origin, between that concept, which is a very noble concept, and if it can be aspired to, wonderful. The country will shine, people will shine. The oneness and the interconnectedness with
That word system.
But
Yeah.
the actual things happening on the ground is completely disconnected to that. How
Right.
has that come about when in the Vedas it was equally, it was supposed to be a noble thing for the demarcations of professions. So one was not better than the other, they were the same, except they had a different function. But how has it now changed to this?
That is a sociological aspect of it, anthropological aspect, historical aspect. Why this happened? I think there are many causes. One is selfishness inherent in human beings, not enlightened by real knowledge. Then
Attachment to our own
invasion, constant
offsprings.
invasion for the last 1000 years. Then British rule, they have imposed their culture on us, so our culture has disappeared. And it has been revived, especially in Bengal, by great humanitarians, religious reformers like Ram Mohan Rai, then Vivekananda,
Dayanand
and
Saraswati.
a host of other literary persons, even Tagore. So we need thousands of Vivekananda, thousands of Tagore to remove this type of superstition from us. So it is a process, long process. For example, I grew up in Calcutta. It is odd to ask somebody's caste. There is no such distinction, especially in the city, in Calcutta. Nobody will ask, what is your caste? And different castes, are getting jobs in different spheres of life over the last, century.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to add a few more points here, sir. Sir, actually, in earlier Vedic period, we did have a mobility, So, for example, we have many examples where, so Vyasa was like a Brahmin, but still,
I will conclude.
Come in, sir.
Maybe I can tell. So, still, Vyasa could compile. Vyasa is called as the Veda Vyasa, who could compile all the Vedas, which was fragmented in different sections. He was not a Brahmin. And Dr. Ambedkar mentions this very aptly in his book, Who Were Shudras, that all the Shudras that we refer as so-called Shudras or Dalits, they were all Kshatriyas. Most of them were also Brahmins. The point is that their practices differed from the so-called, the majority section of the society who had standardized some habits, the habit of eating or behaving particular way. So meat eaters, the Brahmins who are meat eaters, they were boycotted by the rest of the Brahmins. That's why even in Maharashtra now, also in southern part of India, there are 6 Brahmins who eat fish, and they have been boycotted by the rest of the Brahmins. Yeah. So it's very complex, I feel that. And after Ambedkar, you can call it the post-Ambedkarite movements, struggle for equality, was taken a different shift when the Western movement for black rights, influenced the Dalit Panther rights movement in India. Their agenda was that the way race has been, equated, we can also equate the caste system in India and can compare it. But it has miserably failed. That's why many leaders from the post-Ambedkarite Dalit movements came forward and they said that the famous person from Maharashtra, Rajan Hale, he said that we don't want Dalitatva. We don't want to marginalize ourselves saying that that we belong to lower caste. We just want is humanity. We just want Manushyatva. So that is how there is a struggle. Now the politicization has gone to that extent, where every community or every caste just simply wants to consolidate their votes because of the politics. You have the very classic example of Jats in Haryana. They were not Kshatriyas. They were basically belonging to the OBC. But they because of their own Purushartha or some valor that they have showed in history, they got the status of Kshatriyas. Similar case is with the Marathas of Maharashtra. They were Kunbis, they were farmers. But during the time of Shivaji Maharaj, they fought the war along with Shivaji Maharaj and they got into Kshatriyas. So that kind of social mobility was there, it's still there. And many of the people still don't bother about the caste. They would not promote inter-caste marriage as such. There are various reasons. But the kind of things we used to hear earlier, those are not there anymore. Maybe here and there.
Just 1 minute, and she has raised a very good point,
Yes.
When being a Sikh, we all, that we have Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Granth Sahib contains Bani of only 6 gurus, 15 Bhagats who are Muslims, Hindus, and of all kind of caste, low caste, high caste, Brahmin, Shudra, their compositions are there in Guru Granth Sahib. The purpose of Guru Granth Sahib was that, when you go before Guru Granth Sahib, that means you also go before those Shudras who are those compositions. But still, even among Sikhs, I am from Delhi. The people here who are controlling the Gurdwara, they are Jats from some place in Punjab. They think themselves, like, so these kind of things are
Yep.
there. In spite of the fact that we bow before Guru Granth Sahib, we bow before Achut and Shudra, but still we consider, Japa to that. The lack is, we read Gurbani, but we do not read into the Gurbani.
Yep. Let me conclude in one words only, like one sentence. Basically, sir, in Bhagavad Gita, there is a shloka, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So initially it was Varna Vyavastha, now it has become Jati Vyavastha. So Jati Vyavastha is a distorted version of that Varna Vyavastha. So Varna Vyavastha is nice concept in Indian, culture and Indian civilization. But Jati Vyavastha, we are all aware of it, that what it has brought. Anyway, thank you.
That is why this is for 2 months long. Please join anytime whenever you are available and discuss this wonderful discussion. Thank you, Professor Shaw, for holding this in simple words. It is my personal request to hold this 1 hour session so that a simple person like me who doesn't know much about the philosophy can understand a little bit about this. Thank you, I got that opportunity. And in this discussion, I just say two things. The maximum loss of our society is done by this religion and caste system.
Yeah.
We can go length 1,000 years history who has done it, but let we try to remove those things.
Right,
There is
sir.
no meaning of discussion
Yeah.
what happened.
Very true.
Let we think that what we can do at least. Yeah. So that is my thing, and we realize that we were in better place. So if you don't realize that, then how we will be, going towards a good and going to achieve anything if we think that we were not good at all at any time. That is my last thing, and thank you.
Yeah.
And the life mission is also completed today. My 550 minutes timer is switched off my air conditioner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Sure.